Hey there, it's Arsenine and welcome back to Plants vs Zombies. It's part 3 of this. At this point, I don't really know how many parts there are. I'm definitely going to play the mini games, puzzles, and survival as well. So eventually those will become parts of their own. Reminder that when I eventually splice these segments together, I'll remove the intro section since it wouldn't make sense that I keep saying welcome back, and all that. Check out the previous parts in the series if you missed them, and without delaying any further, let's hop straight into adventure. Looks like the zombies gave up attacking your front yard. Now they're trying your backyard. And to top it all off, you can't even use your mushrooms because they'll fall asleep during the day. No idea why. Well, isn't that just dandy? So if you played the mobile version of this, right, there's actually one where you cannot use any pool plants. And there's also one that you cannot use any like pea shooter plants. So the setup I'm actually going to go for is this. Okay. Now, I know I wasn't really going to talk like strategy and everything about this game, but I feel that for this one, I will talk about it in case you want to do your own, pool run on mobile that actually requires you to not use the pool section. The way to mainly do this is that you plant your sunflowers, use the cherry bomb to get rid of those in the middle, and you should be fine. Essentially, why do you choose the mushroom even though they are, asleep? Well, they are a perfect stall plant. You'll see in a second. Essentially, you can just stall the zombies endlessly with mushrooms so that you can just use a single potato mine to take out multiple zombies. Very ideal, actually. But I won't need to do that, and that's hinging totally on RNG being in the same row as before. So, obviously, I'm not going to do that, right? There we go. Yep. I'm gonna try my best not to use the lily pad. I did get it, but there's actually no achievement in this Game of the Year edition to not use the, the lily pad, not use the pool, in fact. The Game of the Year edition, which is the one I'm playing right now on PC, there's no actual thing that says, oh, you can't use any pool plants, which I think it will be hard considering that, the lawnmower, as you have now, doesn't really work too well at killing the zombies, so you really need to time everything quite well. But yeah, I'll just do that. Anyways, I think I ended the last section on a depressing note, which is like, me talking about like how, I wish people were a bit more accepting about people of different backgrounds and everything. I know that sounded depressing, but actually there is good reason for me to mention that. Although it doesn't really fit the lighthearted nature of what I'm trying to do, I think I owe it to you guys to explain why I even mentioned that. So before I move on, I wanted to personally say it was fortunate of me to actually grow up in Singapore, for the reason that we are exposed to people of different cultures, way of life, racial and religious backgrounds, you see. As a result of being exposed to multiple different people with, multiple different backgrounds at such a young age, the resulting is that, well, you know how to really carry yourself when you talk to people of said backgrounds, right? So you can't help but be appreciative of that fact. But I digress with all of that. So how have you guys been today? For me, it's the weekend and I'm spending it playing Plants vs Zombies, so you probably know how it's going, right? If you guys want to say whatever you want, which is like regarding your, what you've been doing, what you've been up to during the weekend, and how you essentially like to spend your time over the weekend, just let me know in the comments below. Feel free to write it. I'll read it whenever I get the chance. But I can't promise I'll be able to read them in a timely manner because, since academics are starting up, I don't exactly have the time to constantly look at all the comments and respond to it in a timely manner. So I apologize in advance. I'm not sure I can time that though, honestly. Yeah, I don't think I can use the pool thing now, unless I have like a second explosive plant. I'll just try. If this doesn't kill, right, which it won't, Yeah, it won't. I won't get it in time, so unfortunately I have to use the pool. That's basically the strategy anyways. Usually what some people will do is that they won't time it together. What I mean by that is that they won't try to do both achievements of the pool is closed and the no pea shooter thing, because basically if you use any 3 peter, you can put it here and it covers these 3 lanes and everything will be perfectly fine as a result of that. Don't worry, this can be handled pretty standard actually. So, yep. You can eat that and then I'll just walnut stall you. There we go. Yeah. Anyways, I think I kind of made a mistake with regards to constantly talking about too much of myself, essentially. Not that I'm afraid of talking about myself again. If you know me, I'm not really afraid to talk about myself, okay? Especially since I need to learn how to, you know, be able to communicate with people. But what I do mean by that is... there we go. What? Yeah, sure, why not? I have enough money. Again, I was pretty lucky to get the diamonds earlier, right, in the last section, which is like, yeah, that's amazing. Okay, now since I don't have to use that, I'll probably just use this setup. That's perfectly fine. But yeah, what I meant by I made the mistake of, you know, talking too much about myself is that it's not a mistake to talk about myself. It's just more like I want to know, right? Like how to carry myself when I eventually have to talk to people, you know, via the text and everything, because no experience, so that's kind of why I have to do that, right? But what I mean by that is, again, sorry, I'm kind of like brain farting a bit tired right now actually, since this is pretty early in the morning that I'm recording. It's like, I'm actually gonna finish this before I go to sleep. I recorded this immediately after the night section, which is why it's so fresh in my mind. But, okay, what I mean by that, sorry to constantly interrupt myself. But yeah, what I meant by talking about that is that sometimes I have no idea how to truly like carry myself, like when I'm talking with no one to vibe the energy off of, which is why I just go on to some random tangents. And that's why I'm talking about so many different topics, like, you know, I was talking about Destiny and like how I used to play it a lot, talking about the problems with the game, blah 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 blah. And obviously some people are not interested to hear any of that, which is fair, because like it's another game. Why are you talking about another game in this game? So this is why, like, since I felt that that may have been way too odd in my opinion to constantly talk about things like that, I decided that, okay, fair enough. I think in this segment, I'm just going to transition to not talk about that and just talk about more of the game, because people would like to hear me talk about the actual game. So why not? So again, if you want to say anything about what I've said before, still feel free to comment. It's okay, I'll read it. But if it comes to like, you know, newer, fresher things like the actual things pertaining to the game, that's kind of more of what I'm going to transition to. So yeah, hopefully you understand that. All that lengthy disclaimer aside, what is... oh, minigame. I thought like they gave me a plan for the Zen Garden already, like, huh? Okay, anyways, like, yeah, I'm gonna talk about this game. So some of the rankings of plants, I'm not gonna give any like concrete rankings or anything, but I'm gonna talk about like what plants are useful in what situation. Sunflowers and any sun producing plants are always essential, no matter what. So they're always like the plant that you should pick no matter what. I think there may be some people trying to do runs whereby they actually don't use sunflowers and rely on the sun that drops, which is perfectly fine because that's a good challenge run. I will say that on levels that are during the day, it's okay. But at night, if you don't have any sun producing plants, unless you're spamming puff shrooms and imitator puff shrooms, you're not going to win. That's all I'm saying. Nah, slow down, dude. Don't get angry. And newspaper dude's in his boxes, right? So yeah. So yeah, talking about strategy. So usually some of the pea shooters like you see here, the standard pea shooters aren't typically useful after the initial day stages, because you have many different options that serve the role essentially better. But the snow pea is almost always useful since it slows the movement speed, and it's only one of technically 3 plants that can do that: the ice shroom and a plant that we will get as a fusion plant later on. So these are the 3 plants that can actually slow. So these plants are useful in whatever situation possible. They don't do high damage because the damage mirrors that of the pea shooter, but it's still useful regardless. Next, we move on to like protection based plants, because as a lot of people say, you know, a good defense is like the best offense or whatever. Honestly, I'm not a fan of that until you get the tall nut, which is I think a few plants from now, because the walnut itself, as you can probably see in the day section when I was playing it, those pole vaulters can just vault over it, and eventually when you get the pool, there'll be like the dolphin rider zombies which can again vault over it. So that kind of throws a wrench in the usefulness of a walnut. I only put it here just to fill up my slots actually, and to stall if I need a cheap stall. And frankly, for like the fact that it's a defensive plant, its refresh rate is so low. Like, look at this. I think if I count, it should be about 30 seconds before it comes back up again, which not really practical, you know. But a tall nut is totally understandable because it blocks vaulting and it's huge. So yeah. And there's another few, which is like, I think pumpkin is also one of them, which is another like good wall plant, which since it allows your plant to essentially be protected while it's doing its business, you essentially don't have to occupy too much of the space. And if I'm not mistaken, eventually when we do see the bungee zombie, I think it takes the pumpkin first before it takes the plant inside the pumpkin. So it's kind of like a, oh, if I have a priority plant, the priority plant is protected before, you know, I actually lose it, right? And yeah, so I think those are all the protection plants. Actually, technically there is one more, although it doesn't count as your standard protection plant. That's the garlic. The garlic basically diverts, you know, zombies to a lane above or below the lane that the garlic's in. So strategy would just be to put one garlic at the start and maybe like some spike weeds or whatever, and then that would be perfectly fine. No thank you. There we go. Yeah, so the reason why I consider it a defense / protection plant is because it has more health than your standard plant. Like, you know, if the zombie eats, I think after 5 bites it just gobbles down the plant. The garlic has, I think, about 20 bites in it. I don't really remember, but it has 3 stages. Basically, it's the normal smiling stage, the slightly unhappy stage, and then the stage where it looks like it's about to cry. So those are the stages of the garlic. Oh yeah, 3 Peter. So that's what I mean by usually earlier you wouldn't actually do the pool is closed and the no peas, because what you would do is that you just plant 3 Peters in this lane and you'll be perfectly fine. And to show you the ideal way of using the 3 Peter, give me a second. And what should I choose? And I'll just pick this for stall. It's okay, I can't really use it anyways. I'm surprised they never gave me a warning that you can't use your plants in the day, except for, you know, Crazy Dave's line. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah, usually for the 3 Peters, it occupies 3 lanes, right? So if you plant here, it will cover these 3 lanes. Now, if you plant up here or at the bottom there, it only covers 2 lanes. So the 3 Peter is kind of wasted on the top and bottom lanes. So think carefully where you plant the 3 Peter to maximize its usage. So what some people could do is that maybe they put a garlic at the front here and then divert it. But at the same time, I don't think it's useful because at least the lanes are split, right? So yeah. Normally, I think they would just add extra firepower to that lane by adding extra 3 Peters, even though it's not practical or useful in any way, shape or form, if you think about it. Okay, I actually need to count how many bites that is in a second. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6 bites. Sorry, I was off by 1. But basically, the standard plant has about 6 bites in it. I never really count all the defensive plants, but they can tank for quite a bit. And finally, you know, your garlic is somewhere in between there. It's not super durable, because if it was, then it would be a bona fide defensive plant, right? Let's see, let me stall this until the thing is up. If you're wondering why I'm stalling, I'm just saving for 3 peters, which are 325. Not just 300, but 325. So that's expensive. But once you plant one, you can just cover 3 lanes, so yeah. There we go. Okay, let's see. Cover that lane, I'll put it here. So as you can see, it covers 3 lanes like that. With the 3 peter in your standard convention, you won't essentially need to put any like lily pads here, so you can just defend this entire lane. Come on, just about 2 more sun. There we go. Oh, speaking of random Plants vs Zombies stuff, right? Because I'm talking about like certain plants and their mechanics before I move on to instants, right? So, if you played Plants vs Zombies on the console before, there's actually a unique plant to it, which is called, I believe it was called the Trash Can Zombie or whatever it was called. A lot of people say that, oh, the Trash Can Zombie is pretty good since it's basically like as strong as like the Screen Door Zombie in terms of the trash can and everything. Wow, I'm just really lucky with diamonds, huh? Okay, anyways, the Trash Can Zombie is like pretty, you know, like durable and everything. But here's the thing. The Trash Can Zombie, for some reason, walks so much slower than the other zombies. I get it, maybe a full trash can, which is durable, is heavy, and okay, that's fair, but like, it walks so much slower. Then when the trash can breaks, it's still slow. So it's technically worse than a Screen Door Zombie. But yeah, that's just a random fact for you guys who've ever played Plants vs Zombies on console. I never played it personally, but I've like watched my friends play it last time when I went to their house and, you know, they had Plants vs Zombies on the console. So yeah, that was that. That was a fun time actually, long ago, but times are over. Those times have been long gone, essentially. Don't worry, I look back at those with fondness. Anyways, now I want to talk about the instants in this, like instant plants, like basically squash, potato mine. Technically, potato mine doesn't count as an instant, it does take time to arm, but it essentially instant kills any typical zombie and has a splash damage of just 1 tile. So if you can stall all of them, i.e. with walnut or puffroom stalling on a single tile, should be fine. There we go. Put 1 here. But yeah, so squash, the cherry bomb, jalapeno, doom shroom, and technically the ice shroom is also an instant because it does freeze, but it doesn't do damage. Am I missing anything? Let me think. Top of my head. The Corp Cannon, I don't count it as an instant because you do aim it. So there's that. Okay, I think that's kind of it for instance. You know, feel free to let me know if I've missed something. And I'm only talking about Plants vs Zombies, not Plants vs Zombies 2, by the way. PvZ 2, there's so many, like, there's what, Grape Shot? There's just so many, you know, like instance that it's kind of mad. I think the one I remember was Grape Shot because that was when I roughly stopped playing PvZ 2, so that was that. Go away. Oh god, there's another one incoming. Fine, give me a second. There you go. Yes, grumble. There we go, it's gone now. But yeah, so instants are basically heavy damage on a single zombie. It takes out all zombies that are not the big man that will come on the roof level soon. But yeah, those are usually your best like plans for dealing with like huge hordes of zombies and everything like that. So just keep those in mind when you're trying to use it. Final wave, let's see. Okay, can I get my cherry bomb? Okay, I'll just do that here. Shoot time just enough. There we go, bye-bye. Yeah, you can try and eat the cherry bomb, bro, it's okay. Yeah, it's over. Tangled Kelp. Yeah, okay, this is an instant that is unlike, you know, Potato Mine. Because while the Potato Mine takes time to arm, the Tangled Kelp is an instant that essentially just kills only an underwater zombie, by the way, so it does have its weaknesses, but it's still pretty useful. You can just use it to stall. I probably don't need the pole cleaners. I might need them for the fog levels, but we shall see anyways. Also, one thing that if you've paid attention to Plants vs Zombies, right? The RNG of the sunflower giving you sun is totally random. Sometimes they can give you sun like within the first 2 to 3 seconds, and sometimes they give you like after another like 6 to 10 seconds. Like it's only gonna glow like right now, right? You see? I plant this, and this might happen in I think 4 seconds, we shall see. So no, not 4 seconds anyways. But the unpredictable nature of when you get sun is it makes it diverse because it doesn't make everything too linear and easy. I think they fixed that in PvZ2 whereby it's more or less fixed at like, let's say a fixed every 3 seconds they give you sun or something. So yeah. And then again, on top of that, PvZ2 does have a speed up button. And as a result of the speed up button, you can just skip so much stuff. You will see in one of the minigame game modes, which I used to hate as a kid, but I liked it now as a grown-up, is I think Zombie Nimble, Zombie Quick. I think that's what the thing is called. It's basically when everything is sped up. And because PvZ Classic doesn't have a speed up button, it's why I'm like, yo, everything is so slow. Let me just finish it, you know? Like, this is why I totally initially started the whole like talking about random things, because the level itself is not short, and if you've played it before, eventually you're just gonna run out of things to talk about if you're just talking about the plants, which is why I decided to talk about it now when there are actually more plants and different options. So yeah, that's actually the reason why. Now, when it comes to plants like, you know, mushrooms, eventually they will have viability when you actually get the coffee bean, which lets you wake up plants. But you only get it at a roof level, which I feel it makes sense because like then they can throw every other plant. Sorry, they can throw any kind of zombie at you because like, yeah, I am using the you know, you get, let's say, I think there's one called the magnet shroom, which basically trivializes anything using metal. So think like the football zombie's helmet, which when his helmet is magnetized and sucked off, he's basically just a normal zombie. So yeah, that's that. And obviously things like Buckethead just become normal zombies and stuff like that. And here's the thing, again, sorry I'm jumping back to this after the fact, but if you remember, I was talking about the trash can zombie, right? Yeah, the trash can zombie, it can be magnetized by the magnet shroom in PvZ on console, and as a result of that, it just becomes a normal zombie but walks slower, so essentially it will become shitty, you know? Anyways, talking about Zombie Nimble, Zombie Quick, right, that specific minigame mode, the reason why I have so much fun with it now and why I hated it back in the day is that back in the day, you still had to think hard about how to, you know, how to strategize, what plans are you gonna do to defend yourself and all of that. Here, you don't exactly have to, because the standard is, you know, 2 columns of sunflowers and then any kind of plant and combination of the plant, and you'll be perfectly fine. Oh yeah, bye-bye. So yeah. As a result of that, you know, you get the idea for like why at a later age this isn't going to be too bad. Not even close, in fact. It's significantly easier from last time. Okay, and you're squashed there, but that's fine. Anyways, since you guys probably haven't seen it here, if you're first time players to this, I'm just gonna show you when you put the tree beater up there or down there. Okay. But yeah, before I actually go about talking about that, I'm just gonna show you, see? 2 piece only. It shoots like independently, so even if there is no one there, it shoots. And I think this has been carried over to PvZ2 as well, whereby they just shoot 2 if you're on the top and bottom lanes. So yeah, that is a problem, but it's okay, it's understandable. Anyways, before I literally get too sidetracked and actually forget what I'm completely saying, I wanted to talk about Zombie Nimble, Zombie Quick for I think the 4th time ever. So again, back as a kid, you probably need time to strategize. You don't really know the strengths of the plants and the weaknesses of the zombies. So as a result of that, having to balance all that and the extra movement speed of the zombies is hectic. And it's not even extra movement speed of the zombies, it's game speed, which means everything in the game is just now faster. So if everything in the game is faster, how are you gonna deal with things, right? Like, you don't know how to handle like, oh, the sun is actually being produced so much faster. But I thoroughly enjoyed that. And in fact, we already unlocked mini games, but the only reason I'm not gonna play it now is because, if I'm not mistaken, you only unlock all the mini games after you mainly finish the adventure, because they want you to actually finish the story and probably unlock all the plants before you get access to some mini games. Because I know there's one that is like plant star fruits in like a star formation. That one is an iconic mini game. So yeah, a lot of people know about what that mini game is and what you actually do in that mini game. So you can't exactly play that mini game if you don't have star fruit, right? So that's kind of why they locked it. And I do believe you get star fruit in the fog levels, so that's immediately after this entire pool section. So that's kind of why they locked it. So as you can see, right, with the, I think 4 times increased speed from zombie nimble, zombie quick, or was it 3 times? I don't really remember. But with the increased speed, it may be really hectic to deal with all the sun, all the zombies and everything. But you have to understand that the whole game speed is increased. So your sun is produced faster, the game ends faster essentially, right? So you can understand why that becomes a favorite from someone who's played PvZ2, because you're already used to the fact that the game speed is already supposed to be faster. So yeah, that's why it's one of my favorite game modes now, which actually doesn't take too long. Bye-bye. There we go. I think that was like 3 zombies there, by the way. I don't think so. Yeah, so those are some of the mini games, and I think some of the mini games that you will eventually see like on every 5th level, which actually, what was the mini game on the pool like level? I don't really remember that one. I do remember that the, what you call that, the fog one was like vase breaker or something like that, which is like, it's one of the iconic, like, I think puzzle game modes, which is why, you know, I remember it. And as you can see, the walnut bowling and Whack-A-Zombie is also another type of game mode. So yeah, those are mini games as well, and you have loads and loads of fun with those. Bye-bye. Okay, I need a cherry bomb. Bye-bye. Ooh, that's a lot of kills actually. Yeah, eventually you just be sitting on so much sun with just 2 rows of it. Hey, Crazy Days car key. Or is it van key? Yeah, it says car key, okay. And you found my car key. You know what that means? Crazy Day Twitty Dinky, sorry, is open for business. Have a look and see something you like. Yeah, so basically, usually at this moment, you will get the pool cleaner. You can get that, which instantly kills zombies, but I don't really need that. Funny thing about the zombie process, sometimes it makes them come out real little and real mean. Defend your shins. So I have no idea the lore behind why he knows about the zombies, but oh, this is the, was it Big Trouble Little Zombie or something like that? Oh yeah, I remember this one. They move faster and are significantly weaker. I think it's 3 hits to kill, right? Let's see. Yeah, they're significantly weaker. Money. Yeah, at least they still drop the big coins, right? Not small coins of money. I love the theme here. I think it's called Loon Boon or something like that. But yeah, it's really fun. It's a very energetic, upbeat theme. Yeah, essentially once you have a row of pea shooters, you'll be perfectly fine. The only thing that would be a problem would be the, what you call that, the football zombie, which takes a bit more to kind of kill. But he won't be so difficult that you can't really deal with him anyways. Here. Okay, just missed that one. I wanted to kill the one in front anyways, so. Yeah, everything's fine. Basically, just remember that they have a third of their normal health as a result of this this different mode. So since they have a third of their normal health, you should be fine. Like, if you count, it takes like 10 to kill one, and if they die in 3, it's basically a third, right? Math. Have I told you guys how much I dislike math? Even though math is like fun per se, I just never really liked math growing up, so that's kind of why I'm like, oh, math, Jesus. But at least in games, this is what we like to call like pattern recognition anyways, right? Like, you recognize that, oh, it takes them how many hits before they die, so you roughly know how to time yourself with this situation. Stop giving me lily pads, dude. Give me more pea shooters. Okay, good. Money. There we go. Bye. Okay. I'll fill the water lane. Money. I think honestly, right, I'm lucky I've recorded all of this in like, while some of it is like one sitting, I'm recording multiple, but in this case it's not one sitting. But I'm lucky I have recorded this because I'm pretty sure no one will believe that I got so many diamonds and everything within this entire sitting, which is still pretty lucky for me. Like, I've never gotten that much before in an entire like sitting of like playing Plants vs Zombies, to be honest. I usually get my first diamond, I think, around like the pool time on average. Like, it will be like the 3rd section. It won't be like so early. So yeah, it's just RNG anyway, so it looks like I have good RNG, right? Okay, 4 bombs. I think that would be able to clear the entire map actually. Final wave. Okay, let him come a bit closer. 1, 2. There we go. Actually, I needed 2 only, but that's fine. Okay, yeah, this is another instant. Blows up an entire lane of zombies. So yeah. Oh yeah, Zomboni. There are usually 2 counters to Mr. Zomboni himself over there. Actually, I'm gonna have cherry bombs, so let me think. They don't really have anything significant, so I'm not gonna get Tree Beater. Now, basically, there are multiple ways to deal with that. Any instant can kill the Zomboni, but why this is the counter is because Zomboni leaves a trail of ice, so you can't plant on the ice until it's gone, so you need the fire to just destroy that. Any instant, like, you know, Squash, Potato Mine, and even Cherry Bomb can deal with him. But the best instant is Jalapeno. And you could, like, there's another plant that you would get actually, which is the one where you step on it and people get, the zombies get hurt. Yeah, that plant, you could totally use it. It's perfectly fine. But it's a single use in that situation because it pops the wheel of the Zomboni and dies. So in such a situation, it could be like, you know, pretty versatile since you don't want to spend the extra 25 on just an instant kill. So yeah, you could use the Spike Weed essentially for that situation. Oh, this game and all the songs really gives me a lot of memories, honestly. And yes, I do intend to try and do all the achievements. Then eventually, once I finish the achievements, I'll just like stop. Like, I think this series will terminate or will stop once I finish the entire, like, you know, achievement section. So I think I'm cracking progress in terms of like, oh, you know, like what of the achievements I've already done and everything like that. I know one of them, which frankly you can't really do until you do New Game Plus, is the achievement where you use only mushrooms for daytime. There are many ways you can do that achievement specifically. Like, obviously you can stall, and I do mean stall heavily with the puff shrooms, and just get your, you know, your sunshroom line completely done. And once you are finished with the sunshroom line, you then use Scary Shrooms for your ranged attackers. Or you just use Fume Shrooms and Gloom Shrooms. Everything like that would be perfectly fine as well. All those are good options. But the problem with that mission is that since you only get coffee bean on the roof levels, which I think is halfway through or more than halfway through you get it, but you get it significantly late in my opinion. Using mushrooms for the roof level is basically asking for trouble if you don't have the gloom shroom. Because if you don't have the gloom shroom, you can't do much, honestly. If you wonder what a gloom shroom is, it's basically an AoE mushroom. It deals damage in a basically like a tile around it. Think of like a cherry bomb attack radius, which is like all those 9 tiles. You put it in center and it kills everything around it. Basically has insanely high burst DPS and it's easily the best plant in the game. The only problem is obviously it needs to be protected, so usually the strats you see people do is like pumpkin, gloom shroom, and then put it there. How do you prevent, you know, the zombies from going for the gloom shroom is that then you put garlic in front so it diverts to the lane above or below. For the pool lanes, it's ideal since, you know, there's only like, since there's 6 lanes. But for the day and night lanes, that's also fine because it's 5. If you notice, there's actually 1 more lane, right? So, yeah. But that's basically some of the strategies that, you know, are already existent in the game. You don't exactly have to ask me about them, mainly because I don't know much about strategy for this game. They're definitely better players than me, especially all those speedrunners, right? Let's be real. Those people are those that actually put a lot of effort and fine-tune their craft to actually know how to play the game and the ins and outs of it, sorry. Sorry, I just choked on my own spit for a second, but yeah. Essentially, those players are the ones who know the game inside and out, and hence they know how to play the game properly, so to speak. And those are the players that like are the ones with some of the most insane strategies ever. Cherry bomb. There we go. Aha. There we go. I'm gonna just try my luck in case the Zomboni goes down there. It's usually unlikely they go into the same lane twice. So we shall see once that arms. Let's do that first though. Oh god. Oh, that'll be a waste. Yep, that's a waste. 2 instants wasted there. Oh, it could be worse. Take one of them away. Yep. Everything is going well. Now, before you upgraded your, essentially your lawnmowers to pool cleaners, right? What would happen is that if the zombie ever reached there, for whatever reason, it will only kill the first zombie that steps on it. The pool cleaners go through the entire pool, so yeah. That's why it is worth getting these. For the roof cleaners or whatever they are called, right? I would assume they're called roof cleaners anyways. The roof cleaners are also the same logic there, like you have to kind of like, oh, use it and then clean the roof that way. Kill that quickly before I use the potato mine. Yep. Oh, it's the right place, but it's not yet planted. Oops, sorry, potato mine. I had the right intention, just not the correct time. Yeah, okay, bye. Kill them. Kill them now. But yeah. So speaking strategy, as you can see, using Snow Pea is just... there's no reason to not use it, essentially. The only time where it becomes like, oh, should I use this instead of extra damaging plants, like when you get the Torchwood. Yeah, this is just the other counter, the Spikeweed, to the Zomboni. But once you get the Torchwood, then and only then should you not use the Snow Pea, because it just melts your freaking Snow Pea and becomes a regular pea shooter. So at that point in time, you're just spending double the amount of a pea shooter for nothing. So at that situation, don't waste your time, you know. Honestly, I should have picked Cherry Bomb, but yeah, you get the idea. Also, something good about like PVZ2, which is a quality of life update, is that you can actually quickly, I think there's an option called reselect previous plants. Basically allows you to just reuse the same plants you used on the previous level. So yeah, very, very quick, very efficient. Okay, there we go. And as a result of that, sorry, as a result of that, you just speed up the time, because if you have to click on all the plants you want, then you kind of have to remember their positioning and everything like that, and it just slows down time. And I know people don't really like that, just want to play the game and then just have fun. So yeah, understandable. Okay, actually I need a drink, so I'm just gonna drink my water while waiting. Yeah, I'll just drink my water while waiting for some sun to come up. Sorry for all the extra ASMR sounds you might hear, but yeah, thirsty from talking for, oh, it's 40 minutes. I think only the day levels are short. The night the other levels have been increasingly long. I remember the night level after I finished like processing, it's like what, 40 odd, close to like 50 minutes, and I'm like, how did it get that long? Then I realized that actually on the day levels you kind of have to discount the first 3 or so levels, because with the lawn not opening up, right, the zombies spawn much faster and get killed much quicker because they're only funneled into like a couple of lanes, so that's kind of why. But at least in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it'll take me more than 6 hours to finish the entire adventure mode. The mini games may take me a bit longer. The only one I genuinely don't like of all the mini games is, I think, it's Raining Seeds. And that one I hated with a passion, which is why I remembered it, because that minigame, you have to basically rely on RNG to give you whatever seed you want. So you could be really, really unlucky and get multiple shitty like seeds in a row. And as a result of that, it just ruins your experience. Almost everything else would actually be fine. Like Invisigul is okay, surprisingly, because if you use any like instance to review the map and blow up the map, you just kill the zombies anyway, so that's perfectly fine. And I think what would surprise some people is that I find Zombotany or Zombotany or whatever you want to call it, right? Those aren't the most difficult minigames, because those zombies, like the pea shooter zombie and the walnut zombie, right? Walnut zombie's tanky, I know, but snow pea kind of slows them down, so good way to counter. But for the pea shooter zombie, you just counter with potato mine, putting it all the way at the back lane. You have like 5 lanes, you just need to pray it doesn't go to the lane with your sunflower on it. But usually how you avoid that is you spread your sunflowers to multiple lanes. Or specifically, if you find that mission or that level difficult, that's one of those levels where you can get the garden rake, so that at least that lane should be safe from, you know, the zombie plants, and you'll be particularly fine after that situation. I think it'll work out pretty well, but you know, we'll just wait. Other things that have RNG are like, you know, the I think the slots where you need to put sun in for slots and stuff like that. And yeah, those missions are like, okay, not sorry, those missions, those levels, not really fun to be honest, because it's entirely hinging on luck, you know. There is mechanical skill, but luck is usually the main deciding factor. Oops, sorry, clicked off. The skill, but at the same time, luck is the deciding factor for the most part for those missions. Now, you may be wondering why I didn't really choose much, but I still use like this spikeweed, even though it's not the best, right? Spikeweed synergizes really well with Snow Pea. Since you slow them, then they are on the spikes for much longer. So yeah, really good plant to synergize with. And another spikeweed here. Unfortunately, you can't plant spikeweeds in the pool, otherwise that would be great. But there's no equivalent of any like plant in the pool that kind of just, you know, weakens zombies and whittle them down. So, you know, unfortunate, but yeah. Let me think, what other minigames are there in PvZ? I'm trying to think of it, and I'm trying to think of it with a brain like starved of sleep, because it's almost 2 AM, so I have no idea what it is. Oh, by the way, it's a 2 AM on a Saturday, so it's not like I'm spending a 2 AM on a Sunday recording this, because I think Sundays I just spend the time just looking at my lecture materials. I know, pretty boring, but what can you do, you know, study, right? So yeah, it's not. But I can't think of many off the top of my head. I just remember those because some of those are pretty fun to play with, like those like mini games. I think for puzzles there was Vase Breaker and the one you play as zombies. I think yeah, that was pretty fun. The one you play as zombies can be mechanically challenging depending on whether the map is designed to hard counter the new zombie you're constantly given. Some zombies, like, you know, like the pole vaulter zombie, is basically just having the strength of a cone hit zombie. So the idea is that, is it actually like viable to have it vault over a walnut straight into a chomper? Because then it's kind of useless, you know. That's kind of like what I mean for RNG. Like usually the defense line is like, let's say you put a walnut there and you have a chomper here, right? The chomper can eat one tile in front or on the tile itself. So if you have a pole vaulter, just vault over the nut and then go onto the chomper still eats your pole vaulter. So at that point in time, it's like, what did you do? You did nothing, to be honest. So everything else is still the same. So yeah, there's the problem there, so to speak. So basically, I think the one you play as the zombies is very RNG based, since like you could essentially be really easy or blessed with like having multiple lanes where you can just use one entire zombie to clear it, or you know, it could just be really unlucky and you have like some bullshit you have to deal with, like an entire lane whereby maybe it's all split piece and you're given that zombie that moves backwards, right? So yeah. And I think one of the zombies that obviously a lot of people would use, but then again, it would be dependent on whether there's a lot of instance on that role, like squash, would be like, you know, the big zombie. The big zombie has double the health of most zombies anyways, so as a result of that, actually double's wrong, by the way, it's not double. It has double the health of your like standard zombie, in the sense that it cannot die to instance in one hit. Oh, by the way, you can't put spike weeds on lily pads, so yeah. So that's the thing. I know this is a line that some people want to see, but yeah, you can't do that. You need to plant it on solid ground. So essentially, this entire defense setup is already done. If I need more, I can just shuffle up the back sunflowers. But yeah. If you notice, most of the different like layouts I play tend to like to use the newest plants. That way it keeps my thing diverse. Although the core lineup of plants I choose never normally change, especially since I use it for the specific scenario that you're placed. And this kind of situation is also where I sincerely wished for like a speed up button, because you look at this, just launch the wave already. I'm just wasting away, literally waiting for this to happen. Hey, money, okay. Yeah. Although I could have probably gotten the repeater, so I could have done extra. But I have used every plant here. Okay, finally, huge wave of zombies. Pop. Ooh, that's not ideal. Oh, I don't know why I did that. Okay, stall. Stall. Boom. Okay, good. Stall worked. Ah, yeah, this is what I was talking about. Okay, give me a second to get a bit of water before I continue the next section. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so what I meant by this is like, you know, the plant that's ideal is that if you're using snow peas, if the pea passes through that, it just melts and becomes a pea shooter. So usually during that situation, kind of pointless to use it. Let's see. I won't use the pea shooter. What am I doing? Yeah, that's fine. Essentially, the 3-peater with the torchwood is the most destructive combination in the pool level that you can get normally. The other destructive combination is if you eventually get the mutation plant Gatling Pea. Because when you get that, then yeah, perfectly fine. Oh, I didn't take the what you call that. Oh, that's not good. I didn't take the potato mine. I usually take that because that's the easiest and essentially most free plant. So now I have to use the squash as the replacement. It's fine, it's just twice the price. And if you're wondering why twice the price, hey, it doesn't have the arm, right? So that's fine. But I did choose the walnut for a reason, so that vaulting zombie doesn't like irritate me. Oh god. Okay, that's fine. At least I can put this a bit later. Let me just get my economy up first. Economy focused game now for this situation. The better your economy, the easier you have late game essentially. Yeah. Okay. You can also get the twin sunflower, but at a point in time, getting a twin sunflower isn't the most useful in my honest opinion. It's cool, and in the mobile there was actually like, I think, an achievement for getting 10 twin sunflowers. So just basically using the default like 2 rows that you normally have but filling it with sunflowers instead. And that's an easy achievement if you just refuse to end a specific level. Like example, all you need is like 2 rows of sunflowers, and you've seen like some of the levels I stockpile like what, 1,000 sun. At that point in time, you just wait and slowly plant the twin sunflowers, and that's it, you win the level. Because it's not like it says you have to do that before you complete the level, and technically you don't complete the level until you pick up the seed. So at that point in time, you're fine. You can just keep doing that. Okay, just give me a bit more, come on. Okay, now my lanes are protected. Okay, I'm gonna do something like a bit more greedy so I can actually get more of this. So since I'm definitely gonna use torchwood for this, I'm going to expand my sunflower line a bit more. Yeah, expand it I think by 2, and then I can just spam torchwood after that. So I have like 4. It does balance out anyway, so actually no, I will have an excess of 2, right? Because if I have here means I would have planted 1 here, have here, planted 1 there. Yeah, but it means I expanded it a bit. Yeah, that's fine. Do that. Yep, okay. Besides, I'm using a very expensive build, so makes sense for me to have this many like sunflowers. I think this is enough. Then I'll put torchwood here. Torchwood does have the thing of being able to like light up a tiny section of the map during the fog levels, but it's vastly overshadowed by the 2 other useful plants like, you know, Blover and Lantern. I think, yeah, Blover and Lantern. Essentially, since they are overshadowed by that, then there's like completely no reason to use that, you know? Yeah, okay. And the plan is that I'm gonna stockpile a bit of sun so I can do that. No you don't. You could kill if you have enough firepower, but yeah, no. Money. Yeah, once the torchwood line is set up, then I think I should be perfectly fine. Okay, this is what I mean by that. Look at that. Okay, you see? Very irritating. So now I need to refresh the torchwood line. That's okay. You can see how like certain plants are like certain zombies are very irritating. So yeah. But I think with 2 extra 3 beaters here, I should be perfectly fine. Yeah, this entire lane is fine. And if you're wondering why I don't try and push forward even further than that, the thing is, even where the torchwoods are currently located, those like zombies that essentially come out from your pool, right, can literally just spawn camp them. So, you know, I'm not about to do that. Okay, you know what? Yeah, actually it's fine. Oh, okay. I see. So actually, I shouldn't do that at all. For the reason that if it vaults, it does become invulnerable for a split second. Ooh, I don't think I will have enough to actually get the last repeater. If I get one more now, though. As you can see there, look. Bye-bye. Yeah, so, yeah. Okay, actually, it got completed anyways. So, yeah, this is an ideal setup for this situation. You have 4, 4, 4, 4, so that's 16, and then you have just 8. Yes, now this is the one. This is the defensive plan I like. Well, obviously I like pumpkin too, but this is great. Yeah, and then they put that there. Okay, irritating, but let's see. I'll have that. I don't need squash actually. I'll still need this though. So let's see, sunflower. Wait, no, that I have no lily pad, so let me think. I actually won't need the tangled kelp from doing that. Oh, wait, no, wait. Sorry. Is that ideal? Yeah, I think that's fine. Actually, I won't need spikeweed to be honest. I think that's fine. I want the spikeweed as an alternative, but frankly, if I'm planting like, how do I say this? If I'm planting towards the area, I think it should be perfectly fine anyways. What I mean by that is that I'm more or less going to have enough tree beaters. It's probably going to be a mirror of the setup you literally just saw. So yeah. Yeah, there we go. So lanes here, here, and here. Yeah. That's fine. Start with 2 first. Because if you build too far out, then you need to push the, you need to push the potato mine line forward, which is not the most ideal. Let's see. Obviously, there is the trade-off of like the further away you plant your plant, the safer it is, although it takes more time for certain plants to have their projectile travel across the map. So yeah, your trade-off is that can it reach in time? It can definitely arm in time, so let's just do that real quick. Yep, let's go. Yeah. It should reach just in time. Probably start nibbling like 1 or 2 bites from it anyways. Okay. Yeah. Oh, just good enough actually. The pool music is like one of the most chill ones there. So, yeah. That's perfectly fine. Okay, there we go. I can start teching up to the repeater. I don't know why I'm saying teching up like StarCraft or something like that, but like, yeah, essentially that's my plan. Like, you just need to build enough to suddenly defend yourself from, the monsters and zombies, essentially, that can get in your way. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Normally, most players won't rely too much on instants, but I'm heavily reliant on instants so that I can form my economy first and then I can just win the rest of the game easily. Actually, I should plot it down there. It's more likely that they're gonna come from down there, right? Yeah. Okay, anyways, I'll be safe. Ah, shit. Okay, that's a waste. But yeah, it should be able to take the Conehead zombie down, I think. But if not, I'll just plant another one. Come on, second 3-peater. Yeah, that's fine. I like squash for this express purpose that you're gonna see in a second. Like, okay, you can see vaults over, and then he can, yeah, crush behind him. A plan in case he doesn't reach that in time. I think it could kill, but in case it doesn't, there is a plan. Okay. Come on, continue planting. Yeah, just get my 3-peater line completely set up first. Because at this point in time, it would just be 4 Ps per lane already, and then you had the Torchwood that doubles the damage of your Ps, and then everything would be perfectly fine. I'll need to save up for the Tall Nut though. I don't really think I would need the Tall Nut per se. But yeah. It was more firepower after all. Defense is not my style after all. Anyways, after this, it would be... Yeah, it would be 310. Yeah, that's actually pretty quick. Oh, it's 1 hour already. I just glanced over at the recording software. It's 1 hour. Oh, God. Yeah, it does get longer and longer, actually. And I'm not trying to drag it out and make it longer. I actually want it to be quicker so that at least I can, like, stitch all this together in a very timely manner, so to speak. Oh yeah, perfect. That's a perfect prediction there, actually. Wall. Boom. Yep. I think only the water lanes really need to be protected. Every other lane's perfectly fine. Because the pole vaulter zombies cannot get close enough, to be honest. And the problem with the Dolphin Rider zombie is, if you notice, right, look at what they're gonna do. This part, they're immune. So, yeah. When they like flip their dolphin into the water, they are immune for the entire duration, which is so stupid. But luckily, the second they first land into the water, they do take like the damage, the full damage before they actually start moving. So it's kind of a balancing act, right? Yeah. Oh yeah? I'm just waiting for the Zomboni to come so I can just light it up. If I have access sun, then I'll plant over here so I can just fortify the water lanes even more. Tall nuts are pointless right now since they're only really meant to defend the water lanes, but I'm pretty sure some people will get irritated at the lack of symmetry of the you know, the layout. I used to be like that a lot actually, and frankly I am doing that subconsciously. Like usually for this kind of maps you want like the perfect symmetry, right? Like, oh, it's gotta look pretty too, you know, but like I get it, okay? I get it. So that's just how we are, man. I guess Plants vs Zombies has taught us the beauties of symmetry, right? Okay, I think I'll be perfectly fine now. Look at the sheer damage output for this. Okay, see? This part, immune. You see that? Now they take the damage. And if, you know, you are unlucky whereby there's another like rubber ducky zombie or whatever it's called blocking for the Dolphin Rider zombie, essentially they can get closer to your defensive line. Okay. No Zomboni, eh? Unfortunately, I don't think I will complete the symmetry here, actually. It will take a bit too long. No instant refreshing, and I don't have the imitator after all. Bye-bye. There we go. Yeah, that should be fine. And then I get the next letter. And after that, I'll just end this section. Okay, nice. Just perfect. Hello, we heard you were having a pool party. We think that it is fun. We think that is fun, sorry. We'll be right over. Sincerely, Zombies. Oh, by the way, I did mention last time, I think I kind of talked about like how, you know, my accent is a bit like combination of like, you know, a bit of the English and American accent. English as in, you know, British English, obviously. But like, the reason why is because I watched like many of the cartoons growing up, and as a result of watching those like cartoons like Johnny Bravo and everything like that, just diluted what I realized I should be speaking. So that's kind of why like I can sometimes fade into either or, you know. Or like, but I do like the Johnny Bravo. Some of the stuff they say there is ridiculous. The cool thing about Johnny Bravo though is at least he's self-aware that he's annoying. Like the whole time you can see that bro's just trying to hit on women, bro. I know that gets really annoying if you think about it, like bro constantly being out there getting hit on by women. Wouldn't that be annoying as a, you know, as a lady to deal with? But I'm pretty sure the message of the show, which is the fact that he never got any lady in the end, was like, oh yeah, that's what you are not supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? But I do love some of the lines they say. It's like, mama, can I just tell my story? It's like, only 6 more weeks to the prom. All I gotta say is goodbye, bag of bones, hello, hunk of meat muscle. You know, some of those lines he says, like, it's like so ridiculous, you know. Like, as a result of that, it's like, oh, that's so funny because it's ridiculous. And obviously, I don't support, like, you know, real life people being massive creeps like that. And I'm pretty sure current society does, like, not listen too accepting of people like that. So, yeah, just be mindful of what you say in public, you know. Anyways, again, less about Johnny Bravo and my odd accent and more about the game, right? So as you can see, right, this playstyle, just doing this, right, eventually you'll be fine. Once I have access 3 Peters is when I'll fill the rest, but for the most part it will just be like this. Yeah, okay, this counts as access already because these are the 3 main rows. Die, Buckethead, die. Let's do that then. Yeah. More instants. Alright. Then again, I guess the squash doesn't truly count as an instant. Ah, I should have planted that there actually. Because the squash is like there until it hits and does something, you know, so yeah. Hey, why the hell do you go there the second time? Okay, there it goes. Okay, gotta get ready for the torch woods over there. Where are all my torch woods, bro? Uh-huh. Come on. Give me what I want already. I don't think so. There we go. Yeah. I'm actually getting really unlucky with torchwoods and tall nuts, but I'm getting really lucky with a lot of 3 Peters. Because usually what people want is just having this entire, like, you know, line of just 3 Peters, and then they're just like gonna roast everything in their way. Okay, now ideally don't give me any more tall nuts, okay? Okay. Wait for another. Oh my god, dude, I literally just said don't give me any more. What does this remind me of? Okay. There is this game mode called Column Like You See 'Em. Basically, it's like when you plant one, you get like an entire column of like, what you call that? You get an entire column of plants essentially. So this is almost like that. Not the same, obviously, because it's kind of missing some nuance. Yeah, no, I don't think so, bro. Nope, you're gonna die. They died actually before they hit that, to be honest. I don't think so. I think I have enough destructive power, but like, you know, it's okay. There's ice there. Oh! Okay, that was actually not expected, to be honest. Yeah, I actually wanted just to melt the ice and I didn't notice that that guy was actually going over there. I'm surprised that, you know, the zombies don't get hurt when they eat the torchwood. I know that's a change they made to PvZ 2 when I was recently looking at some of the stuff that was on there. Oh, that's the last wave already? Oh, thank god, that's this. Like, yay, where's all my freaking things, you know? It's not gonna be symmetrical, but, you know, whatever. Oh, wait, it's gonna be symmetrical, actually. There we go. Surface and die. Bye-bye. Alright, and and that concludes for this section. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.